Today's lesson, section 11.4a, we're talking about shifted conics. And so now instead of having your origin as the center or vertex, now you will have a center or vertex of h comma k, so it shall be moving. So instead of, so the h, if it's, let's say, x minus h in your equation, that means you're moving it to the right, h units. If it's x plus h in your equation, it would be left h units. For your y's, if it's y minus k, that means you're moving it up. If it's y plus k, it means it's moving it down. Just remember that when it's in the equation, written like this, that always means it's the opposite. Because of the regular notation, it's usually going to be x minus h and y minus k in there, so when you plug something in, it'll always be the opposite value. Okay, so go ahead and copy down the new stuff for the parabolas. The only thing that's different is that instead of having 0, 0 for stuff, you have hk. So take a moment to write this stuff down. I won't bore you with talking about it because nothing really changed other than that one piece of information. There's your stuff for your ellipses. And there's your stuff for hyperbolas. Okay? So make sure you pause the video when you want to copy something down so you can do that. But I'm going to move on. So, in example 1, I want to be able to determine which conic the given equations are and then state all the important parts and then graph the equation. So, for letter A, it looks like it's going to be an ellipse. Now the reason I say it's an ellipse is because you have x squared and y squared, and then you also have a plus in between them too. So it must be an ellipse. Also, because your a squared, or your biggest number, is underneath the y squared, that means it is a vertical oriented ellipse. Okay, so just remember that. And then from there, now I want to find my good stuff. So now I need to be able to state my center, so it looks like it's -2, 1. Remember, always opposite. A will be 4 because a squared looks like it's 16. B will be 3 because b squared is 9. Now I need to find my c squared, and so that means it's 16 minus 9, and that gets me 7. So the square root of both sides gives me c equals square root of 7. Okay, so now I have a c. Now I want to find my vertices, and so that will be -2, and because it's vertical, the y value will be the one changing, so I'm going to add 4 to my value of 1, which gives me 5, and then also subtract 4 from the 1 as well, so that gets me -3. My major axis has a length of 2 times 4, which is 8. My minor axis has a length of 2 times 3, which is 6. And then for my foci, you will have -2, 1 plus square root of 7, or plus minus square root of 7. If you'd like to make the decimals for both, so you know what those are, that's okay. But you don't have to. You can only need to really know the decimals so that you can graph it in the correct position. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and graph this. So our center is at -2, 1. Okay, and then graph my vertices. Here's one of them. There's the other one. Now I also want to be able to graph the other side. So using the length of 6 means that going 3 from the center in both directions. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So now I can graph my ellipse. Okay, you don't need to label your b values. But just use the b value to help you find the dimension, so you know if it's skinnier or chubby. And then from there, I want to be able to graph my foci. So the foci are going to be -2, 1 plus square root of 7. So looking at that, that'll be about 3.65. So be about right there. And then when I write this, I don't have to write the decimal because the square root of 7 is more accurate. And then it'll be the same distance, so for the minus, just as long as you get them in the correct spot, so like they're in between the correct decimals or the correct integers, then you're good. So that would be our graph for the ellipse. And then I want to do the same thing for my next one. Now here, this one, there's only a y squared, there's no x squared, so that means it's not an ellipse or hyperbola. So I would say that this would be a parabola. And then I'm not sure which way it opens quite yet. It's a parabola to y squared, so it either opens to the left or to the right. Okay, so I need to be able to put them in the proper position first. So I need to move the x and the number to the other side because I don't need them. So okay, so that gives me y squared plus 6y, and I want to be able to complete the square. Okay, so then half of 6 half of 6 squared should give me 9. And so then that's what I'm going to add to the other side and complete my square. 9 plus 7 gets me 16. Okay, now on the left side, you can make it y plus 3 squared. And now also I want to be able to figure out what my 4p is. So I need to take out the -8 here. So then that gives me x minus 2. And so now, for sure it's a parabola. Since it's negative, it opens to the left for that 4p. And so now the important parts will be the vertex. So that'll be at the point 2, -3. And then your focus, remember I need to figure out what this p value is. So since 4p is equal to that -8, okay, so then I want to divide both sides by 4. Okay, so p must be a value of -2. And so for my focus, I will, because you're on opening left, so the x values are going to change. So then 2 plus a -2 will get me 0. And then for your directrix, it's also x, so it's going to be h minus p. So then 2 minus the -2 will give you 4. Okay? So now I need to go down here and graph that. So my vertex 2, -3 is right there. Okay. My directrix is right there, so x equals 4. Your focus is right here. Okay. Now using your focal width here, focal width is 8. Remember, it's the absolute value of 4p. So since it's 8, you can divide that into 2, which gives you 4. So go up 4 and down 4 from your focus so that you're parallel with the directrix. And then you can draw your parabola. And there's my graph. Okay. The next video I'm going to do a couple more, so you can kind of see some more of those. Alright, have fun.